Welcome to what is to date the most extensive car repair I've ever decided to take on. In front of me sits a 2009 Subaru Forester. I'll give you a little walk around real quick. This belongs to a family friend of ours. It's got the EJ253 4-cylinder. It's hooked up to a 4-speed automatic transmission. It's still running. It's at about 150,000 miles, but they've decided to replace the engine in it. Now the reason for that is it is leaking oil from just about every single hole, every single seal, every single crack where it can possibly leak oil. I'll show you that in a second, but it's got about 150,000 miles on it. Like I said, still runs, but given how many oil leaks it has and the amount that it would take to replace it, it would be an engine out job just to actually patch every single leak in it. So they've decided to replace it entirely. Now it hasn't been sitting too long, but you can see right underneath there, it's leaked out all of that in less than a day. Pretty substantial. I'll pop the hood so I can show you. Get her open real quick. And there you can see the engine. It's kind of hard to see in some spots, but you can see where it looks a little oily down here and down there. But the overall goal is going to be to pop that out and pop a new one in. I'm inside the Forester right now. I'm going to start it up one last time with the old engine. Take it for a quick spin real quick. 151,255 miles. Fires right up. Throw her into drive. And get it going. Take it for a quick little loop. Just got back from the test drive, 151,262 miles, and I don't know if you can see it, but this thing is smoking. Can't really see it, but there is a good bit of smoke coming out, and I could smell it burning as I was driving down the road. So it's definitely leaking all right, like I was saying. There's definitely a good bit coming out. I don't know if I'll be able to pop the hood and you'll be able to see it, but no doubt leaks coming from it. Oh yeah, you see that smoke? So yeah, she's smoking a good bit. I'd guess valve cover gaskets. It all seems to be coming from right around here. But yeah, I could smell it burning the whole ride up. Gonna turn off the engine, and hopefully next time I see that key, it'll be turning on with the new engine under the hood first try. So I decided to hop underneath, take a look. All of this is dripped out within about a minute, so I'd say that's pretty substantial. Looks like there's more coming out in the back right now, but you can see just how slick that is underneath. Pretty slick indeed, so a lot of oil, a lot leaking. Definitely see why they want that addressed. Can't be leaking like that forever if it's going to keep running, so that's why we're swapping it out. So for today at least, it's just going to be me. I don't know how far I'm going to get. Sun's already starting to go down, and I'm starting pretty late today, but it is Sunday, March 5th, 2023, so we'll get going on that shortly. I don't know who else is going to join me. This is at Nathaniel's house where we're doing the work, so I know that he will definitely help out a little bit. I don't know who else will be able to swing by, but in this video and several videos if I make them, we'll see who else can help. So I'll show you guys a little bit more around and then we'll get started. Now within the plastic pod, as they call it, lies our new engine block. You can see how long this thing is. This is the front here. You can see the timing belt and everything right there. Top's right here covered in plastic. The valves on the side because it is a boxer engine. And then here's the back side. So you see it's definitely a weird shaped engine. I don't have much experience with boxer engines. I've only done some small little routine maintenance jobs on them, but this is going to be somewhat new to me. This is my first ever engine change, so if I don't seem like I know entirely what I'm doing, there you go. But I'm going to do my best to make this detailed. Hopefully it'll be good to follow along or good for just entertainment, so we'll see what we can do. Now I'll show you guys what I'm going to use here. I'll add anything else that I forget separately. I'll throw it in a little slide right here, put it right over top of my face. But for what I have right now, just to get started and what I can think of off of the top of my head, let me show you what I got. Naturally going to get started with my mechanics tool set. I have my DeWalt one here, as DeWalt is my preference when it comes to tool sets. I got this, and then apparently my sockets jumped out at some point while it was closed, so I'll get that organized. And there we go, she's organized once more. But I got all my sockets, I got all my wrenches, I got my screwdriver with bits, so I'm definitely going to need that. Need plenty of those sockets. I decided to go to Lowe's to buy one of these to try it out. I got a little DeWalt Extreme 12-volt ratchet wrench. Little electronic ratchet. I've never actually used one of these on a car before. I've used one at work here and there, but I decided I'd get my own. Like I said, I usually use DeWalt's 20-volt, but I decided to give it a 12-volt line a try. So with the magic of YouTube, I'm going to open this real quick. And here we are. Here's the tool itself. A little bulkier than I thought it would be. I decided to go with the 12-volt instead of the 20-volt to see how much more compact that was, but we'll give her a shot, see what I think of it. Of course, what good is an electronic tool without batteries to go with it? So, batteries. Here we are with the new batteries and charger. And other than that, just some miscellaneous stuff. Some gloves to keep the hands clean. Some zip ties, because almost every job I've run into has needed zip ties at some point, whether it's to hold something on or secure something tight. Pens to go with my notepad that I bought. And Sharpies to go with the duct tape that I bought to label things. Almost forgot as well, sandwich bags so I can throw any nuts, bolts, anything in there, label them with the Sharpies, get them all sorted, so won't lose track of anything. Alright, well, the sun is starting to go down. It's probably going to be down within a half hour, so I really don't have too much daylight. I might just start doing some basic little stuff, like just getting the battery out and then just looking around at what I'll have to do. I'll start getting pictures of everything. If there's one thing that people have told me is to get pictures, so I'm getting pictures and video, making sure that my ground is 100% covered so that everything is good to go. Now, as I had mentioned before, this is my first engine swap. I haven't done this before, so I'm going to try to make this as much of a guide, as much of a walkthrough as I can, but I'm also going to be learning a lot in the process. So if I'm not 100% confident, there's your explanation as to why. There's plenty to be learned here from everybody, both me learning here as I do it and you watching. So let's get going. All right, let's pop the hood, grab the hood latch, give it a little tug. Let's pop the hood once more and get that battery out. Now the battery is held down just with a little tie down right here. I'm going to take off the terminal connections. Got your positive here, which got the cover on it, and the negative right here. Just unbolt them here. I'll give you the socket sizes in a second, and then take this little tie down strap off. I also folded down the back seat, so I'm going to be able to use that as a little workspace, kind of put out any materials or anything that I'm using, sort out bolts, nuts, all that good stuff back here. So that'll be a good little working spot for me. So to get the battery out, this is a 10mm nut right here. This is about a 13mm right here. I'm going to use an open-end wrench for that. And then this fits with about an 11mm. It's weird because it doesn't fit exactly right, and the American sizes aren't either, so I don't know what size it actually is, but it fits. So I took this off with the open-end wrench, the 13mm. I got my 11 on here. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Then last but not least, a little tie down right here. Wiggle that off. There you go. You can see it falling down there. Wiggle the little bar out there. Take off the connections here. Set this one over here. Take this one off over here, if I can get it. And with a little bit of finagling, I had to pry this apart a little bit, but this is all disconnected. So I'm going to yoink the battery. Now that it's out, I'm going to take out all the little battery accessories. Going to take out a little cover for it. The actual tie bar itself. Just throw it up here for now at least. Then take out this bottom plate right here. Now I was going to start dismantling the cooling system, which was going to be my next goal here, just to get that all drained out and then start to take out the intake and everything else. But it is starting to get dark pretty quickly. I don't want to be halfway through that and not be able to finish it. So quick night, but I'm going to call that a night after this. Like I said, I was just kind of giving more of an introduction to what I'll be doing in this video. Just kind of showing around and all that. But battery is out. I'll get back to working on this when I can. Maybe next weekend, I'm not sure. Today's Sunday and I got a week of work ahead of me, but we shall see. It'll be a when I have daylight, when I have time kind of project, and I'll be trying to get this all done within a month ideally. So yeah, that's all I got for tonight. Probably going to break up this video into 30-minute sections depending on how much I get recorded. So this will definitely be the first video, maybe the only video, maybe the first part. So we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching so far. Welcome back to another day. It is very windy outside, so apologies for any wind noise, but we're going to get cracking on the Subaru again. It's just me right now. I believe that Tyler's joining me later, and I'm not sure who else from there on out, but I'm going to get the cooling system dismantled now. I'm going to get the engine accessories removed, and then we'll see how much progress we make today. Hopefully, maybe get the engine out. I'm not 100% sure. It's the second day of work. It is Saturday, March 11th. Let's get cracking. So the engine has not been running over a week. Because of that, the cooling system is obviously cold. Whole cooling system up here, I'm going to get to removing that. I'm going to get all the coolant out first, radiator fluid, antifreeze, whatever you want to call it. So I'll get draining that now. Now looking underneath this engine, I'm on the passenger side. You can see there's this little plastic shield right here that I'm going to have to remove. It's held in with this little plastic clip right here and a little screw up here, so I'm going to get that off now. Now that I've got that moved, you can see the little radiator petcock drain plug right there. I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver, going to pop that open and drain out all the coolant. Crack open the top of the radiator so that it can pull air in through the system and effectively drain everything out. You can see it all coming out now. While I'm up here, I'm going to take off the upper radiator hose. I'm just going to simply pinch that with a pair of channel lock pliers, wiggle it back, and then pop it off. Alright, so I'm still wiggling back and forth with this. The intake right here, though, isn't really being held in by much, so I can just kind of wiggle it out. Take that out, have some more space to work, so I'll throw that in the back as well. Tyler is now here as well, so it's a loud truck. But anyways, just working on getting that. Gonna get the hoses off, get everything from the cooling system dismantled, and then get that yanked out. To get this top one off, I'm just gonna remove the bottom one the same way, pinch with some channel locks, pull it, and I'm probably gonna replace those when I put in a new hose. Alright, now that I got the top hose off, I'm gonna get the bottom hose off. That one is connected down on this side. Kind of trying to show it here. You can see it right there. Screw clamp here though. Yeah, so right here I'm gonna have to remove this 12mm screw as well. It's kind of hard to see because my camera's so close, it's right up my face. And then this plastic shield should pop down and we can remove the lower hose as well. So we got the bottom hose off. I'm gonna try to remove just pretty much everything here now. I'm gonna disconnect the wiring harness down there. You can see it right down there. There's another one on the other side that's kind of hard to show on the camera. Once I do that, I'm gonna remove this little plastic screw right here. Gonna get these two bolts out and then see what else I need to get out in order to get all this out. All right, Tyler's holding one of the little support brackets. That comes out just like this one comes out. Both held in with 12mm bolts. This one's a little stuck on here, so wiggle it off and get the electronics disconnected and hopefully it'll pull straight out. Colby's here now. We're still working on this. We put these back on because we might not actually have to take off the radiator. We're not sure, but we're going to try to get the fans out and accessories as well so we can have a bit more working space. So we're going to get going on that, get the hoses out of the way, and then proceed onwards. So we're going to try to get these screws off here. What's that, a 10 that you got on there?
Yeah.
So we're going to use the 10s, take those off, and then see what else is holding it in. We got the electronics disconnected that you can see down there. Keep going from here. All right, well, the fan popped out just like that. There's two of them. You can see they come apart. I will take them.
I might want to put them back in the radiator.
Yeah, we'll either thread them back in there or throw them in a bag so we remember, but they come out pretty easy. I guess we're going to have to use an open end wrench for this one right here because, of course, Subaru was thinking everybody's going to be working on these, replacing their engines. Why make it easy to access? So, yeah, lovely. All right, just took off this little shield right here. Bolts in right there, little tab pops in right there. Going to get the belts off and then get the accessories off. So Colby's removing some of the vacuum lines back here. You see how old some of these are. They don't really want to move.
Let's take that nut out.
Twist it all. I tried twisting it. We did twist a couple of them before. Colby's still working on getting the lines out now. He's trying to see if we can get it with the disconnect tool back there. I'm going to start disconnecting the electronics connections up here and then start stripping off the belt down here and then removing the accessories one by one. I'll get Tyler's help with that in a minute. But for the meantime, we're still progressing along. That green plug is stuck in there, so we're just going at it as is. So Colby's removing the alternator bracket. We're going to put that on, or we're going to take that off, sorry. And then we'll slide the belt off after that. So we're just going to remove it as is, see what we can work with, if we actually need to get that green plug out or not. And then if not, we'll just kind of leave it like that. We've decided not to go with that back there and just kind of leave that on for now, see if there's a better spot to disconnect it or if it's going to be easier to work with once we get the rest off. But for the time being, we're just going to get things moved out of the way, kind of move it to the open spot where the battery goes and see where we can get from there. All right, we got the first belt off, the one that goes to your power steering, your alternator, and your crank. That one goes on the outside here. There's a bolt that goes through here, connects to a bracket on the other side here.
For future reference, this is the tensioner piece, and we didn't see that because the serpentine belt was already on here. So this threads into the side of the alternator. So we're going to put that back in once we get the alternator out or moved.
Yeah, like Colby was saying, holds tension there. So you got that going for you. And I was going to say, what was it? It was the one here.
One there, and
here.
then that one. And then the only thing else is that you have to release this bolt because it holds it in, and then that releases the tension of the serpentine belt, and it allows it to come off.
Yep, so all kinds of fun stuff. I have a couple of pictures. I can throw them in here now just for reference. We need to use a pry bar to pick it up. There's a little bit of a hole right here where it kind of sleeves back there, but you can see a little sleeve piece back there. Picks up, we're just going to tuck it out of the way for now, tuck it down there. Hopefully get that green connector out when we have a bit more time to work on that, but that's out now. We're going to work on the power steering pump and the AC compressor, which from what I've read online, you don't need to disconnect the lines from either of them. They should flex up on either side respectively, so we'll see what we can do. Colby's working on getting the AC compressor bracket off, knuckle buster as he called it. Oxygen sensors upstream and downstream here, so I'm going to get those two disconnected and then maybe start getting off the intake while we're here as well. So that was the 9/16 that Colby just pulled out of there. So that's about the size that we're looking for there. Alternator is 12mm, right?
Yes.
So alternator is 12. Tyler's going to get going on the intake, and yeah. All right, well, we got the air intake out, and it has this big tank on the bottom. on the intake side that it looks like it's collected
Full of
some leaves and crap over the years, but I've never seen anything quite like that. The tank went down here, so that's completely out now. It was held in up here to this bracket and then down here to the actual frame itself. We put the screw back in here so we won't lose it. So that's coming along good. I popped out the oxygen sensor, little electronic components right there. Working on getting the compressor out right here. Got this bolt out here, this bolt out here, and that leaves one right here to disconnect the bracket. And yeah, so actually I guess, yeah, we'll have to take off the entire bracket anyways to get on to the next one. But it's either the screw down here or the screw up here will get it off. Regardless though, like I said, these don't need to come off. This can kind of fold up out here and get out of the way there. So we're going to do that. And Colby is standing here, stands up with a breaker bar. I don't really know what he's doing. But, okay, apparently he's losing his mind, but here we go. All right, so we're removing the compressor on the bracket now, which seems to be the most pain in the butt thing so far. Bolt down here, bolt down here, bolt up here, bolt here where my finger is, bolt where Colby's getting it in on the side, and then another one down below his hand. So it's been a little bit of pain getting that one out, but it'll come out. All right, I'm going to keep working on the intake, get off that top box there. We're still trying to get off the compressor. We might have to remove everything here first, but we are not sure. So we'll be crack-a-lacking. All right, I took this off the bottom here. Took these two 10mm bolts out here. This will slide off of here, and I disconnected this little hose clamp back here. So this whole thing should pop right off. Yeah, just got to disconnect some more over there. All right, looking back inside the engine, we got the intake off there. We were kind of looking at this little suspension bar for the transmission bell housing.
Transmission has its own shocks.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen that before, but interesting for sure. I'm going to get the engine wiring harness disconnected and just keep going with getting the compressor off and then the power steering pump. Figured I'd show this inside of the old housing here. You can see there's oil in there, so this thing has been sucking in a decent little bit of oil, but we'll get that cleaned out before we put it all back together. All right, we're dismantling the spark plug wires right now, just for future reference. One is on the upper side here. That traces down to the front of the block here on the passenger side. 3 is on the bottom, traces to the back of the passenger side. 2 is on the other side. Where's 2 go? 2 goes to the front of the driver's side.
Yep.
And then
and 4.
4 is on the bottom here, goes to the back. So, cool. All right, so we got the power steering pump loose, as you can see it here. Got all the bolts out of there. Those were all 12mm and 9/16, right? Or just 12mm?
12 and 9/16.
Yeah, so 12 and 9/16.
You're
10.
working with 2. It's not one, it's the other.
Correct. 10, 12, and 9/16. So that's been pretty much everything we've needed so far.
Oh,
This line doesn't really have much of a good bend to it, so we're going to take that off, and I'm just going to tape it and wrap a bag around it, kind of get it off there. Colby's going to work on getting the bottom one off, and then we'll get the pump out itself. So we got the power steering pump out. My hands are covered in power steering fluid, and we have a little bit of a leak. Or not a little bit of a leak, but a little bit that's spilled out here, as you can see. Yeah, a lot of a leak. But anyways, we got the lines up and tied off here, trying to keep as much of that spill to a minimum as we can. Connector broke off a little bit, so we're going to have to work on that. But for the time being, it's just getting everything else off here. Trying to get everything labeled and remember where everything goes. So pictures, 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 videos, videos, videos. Little line right here. Got to take that off, or already did take that off, and it's just getting the 2 bolts on this side, really. So to get that, we'll keep going. So Colby finally got out the compressor. It was a long fight that it really didn't need to be, but it's out now. We'll be able to flex that up and out of the way, just kind of like he is right now. So that'll stay out of there. We've got a lot more open space here now. I guess we'll work on getting off the intake up here. Shouldn't be too bad. Should just be some bolts, some gaskets, etc. Aside from that, so far so good. Nathaniel's here now, so it's Nathaniel, Tyler, and Colby working here with me. But like I said, intake will come off, and then I sprayed a bit on the underside right there. Look at all that oil and power steering fluid, but it's sprayed up down there. Hopefully it'll be good when we go to take off the exhaust studs, and I sprayed a bit around the bell housing too. So far progress is going good. I guess we'll work on the intake next. We're also going to get the spark plug wires out. I already showed you how those are wired up, so we'll pop those out now and get them out of the way. Get some pictures of how everything's wired in down here. All right, we're getting off the little cover plates right down here for the intake, and then getting off the actual bottom bolts here for the intake. Hopefully there's not too much left. Tyler's breaking those loose. I've gotten a few of the electrical connections off. Most of them, knock on wood, have come off pretty easy. We've only had 1 connector break so far, and we're hoping to keep it that way, but for the time being, we got our fuel lines running down there, and we're going to have to get those out of the way before the actual intake comes out. We just need to find out how you get this off. So for the time being, we're just going to keep on trucking. Making forward progress, getting the wiring harness disconnected, getting all the intake bolts and covers out. So far, so good. Same old, same old. All right, we're working on getting this out. We couldn't get out this little bushing right here, so we're going to disconnect it back here with a little filter. I'm going to pop that off. This one's already out there, so it should just pop off theoretically. But, of course, I'm recording, so it's not going to come off easy. I'll put down the camera, and we'll get this one off back here and this one off right here. So we got the fuel line off back here. We got the fuel line off right here. And we just got to disconnect this little bad boy right here. So channel lock's open end, something like that. We're going to grab it and get going at it. So we're still progressing from here. We're just disconnecting everything from the fuel rails, getting the injectors disconnected. Electronics are connected right now, so I'm pulling those off. From there, it should all just lift right up, so we're hoping that's going to be the case. All right, Colby's pulling the last connection down there, and then there's one right here that I'm trying to get out as well. Aside from that, that should be everything for the intake. I pulled out the electronic fuel injector little connections right there. It is a ton connected to this intake. I did not realize it would be that much, but slowly but surely pulling every one by one. Okay, so this one doesn't have to come off, but this one does right here because that connects back in through there. So pulling that off here, and then I have to disconnect this little thing because the entire engine wiring harness is held on right there. So I'll pull that. All right, well, we got the intake off. That was a lot more of a pain than it really needed to be. We're going to drain the oil out of it now since I haven't done that earlier. All right, so right here, oil drain plug, going to drain her out. We're disconnecting the lines back here.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. Yeah, we're not.
I know coolant's about to go everywhere as soon as I take this switch off.
Yeah. We're moving the back lines, going back into the actual body itself. Sliding those off. They're being a little stout with us right now, but hopefully we'll have them out pretty easy.
Us?
Yes, Colby. I'm making Colby do all the work, actually. I haven't even touched the car yet.
I
haven't gotten anything on my hands yet, so.
went to Chas Pit Beef and came back 3 hours later.
I did. I just went to go eat, and then I came back. I just had them doing all the recording and mocking my voice. But anyways,
It was an AI voiceover.
yeah. AI's getting so real these days. Anyways, after this, probably get under, start unbolting the exhaust, and then start unbolting from the bell housing.
Under?
Sorry, Don.
The car. I'm going to cut that part out. All right, I'm going to get to removing the exhaust. So I'm going to have to remove it up here. Some bolts that go in up here. Going to have to remove the bolts down here as well that holds that in, and then the ones up here. So it's going to be a pain to get to. And I'm not going to be able to really record much, but I'm going to get it from down here. So Colby's working on getting the bolts out of the bell housing. We had the socket wrench fall in, but they're in there pretty tight. We got to make sure it's pretty tight when it's going back on. So he's getting those out now. I'm working on getting the exhaust underneath. I'm spraying it up pretty good because they are tight in there, but other than that, not too bad. We're removing the grounding connector right there. Taking that off right now. And then, aside from that, we might just call it a night. Sun's starting to go down. Starting to get very cold. I think the wind chill's only like, I don't know,
The wind doesn't help though.
30 degrees, so it's pretty chilly. All right, well, it has gotten very cold very fast. We're going to call it a night. Haven't really done much since the last video, so just close her up and hopefully get back at it tomorrow. I am back again. Today is Sunday, March 12th, here with the Subaru. We're going to get cracking. The goal for today is to have the engine good enough to be pulled next weekend. I'll have an engine lift ready by next weekend, which is the plan. I don't know if I'm going to rent one, borrow one from a friend, or what the deal is going to be, but anyways, I want to have it good to go so that when next weekend comes, it's as simple as chaining it up, yanking it out, and then throwing the new one in. For the time being, I'm going to show you what we have to do still, and then I'll get working on it. Got the hood all opened up, ready to get back to where we ended before. Currently, we have the bolts out here that connect the bell housing. Got to get them on the other side. It's kind of hard to access. Might have to access that from the underside. Might jack up the car at some point. I don't know if that'll be done today, but it's kind of hard to get those on this side. And for now, I want to try to get the exhaust off, try to disconnect it down there where it's connected to the back side of the exhaust, and then where it mounts the engine, right there and right there, like I said. And then there are 4 bolts that hold the torque converter to the flex plate. You see the torque converter right here. You spin it around using the crank up here, hook it on to the 22mm bolt, just kind of crank it, and then you'll be able to pull them out one by one. I'll show you when I'm doing it. There's 4 back there, and I'll show you how I do that. Now, Colby started taking out the bolts for the bell housing the other day. He'll be over shortly, so I'm going to hold off on that until he can come over because he has a better explanation, understanding of what he did back there. For the time being, I'm going to focus on getting the exhaust off like I was talking about. Those studs are pretty rusted, so I'm going to spray it a little bit more. I've been spraying it nonstop, so hopefully it'll loosen up a little bit, and I'll show you where I'm hitting. Now, if there's one thing I've learned about working with exhaust is that everything gets hot and messy, and it sucks. So I brought out my impact. That wasn't strong enough, so I brought out the big impact, and you can see what I got now. It's progress, but it doesn't look like forward progress necessarily. I don't know how that's supposed to be, but it's threaded on either side. A nut came off of the right side, and whatever's on the left side back here, or back side, sorry, came out completely. So this is the nut. Looks like a little nut washer combo that came off the front side, and this is what it came off the back side. So I'm not 100% sure if that's right. I'm going to get to taking it out up here. It's kind of hard to pan the camera around, but up where it connects to the engine. And then hopefully that'll give us some room to work with it, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see. Of course, like I said, it's never easy. I'm using a 9/16 socket for that, and it's fitting so far, so hopefully it'll fit up there as well. Like I said, I had to break out the impact, but I did get all of the exhaust bolts and studs loose and everything. They came out as all nuts on the passenger side, just 3 of them that look like this. There are 3 for each side of the engine. On the driver's side, they came out like this, so they pull the stud out and everything. I'm not 100% sure if that's how it's supposed to be, if there's supposed to be the whole stud that comes out as one piece or not. I don't think so, but I'll check on the new engine and see how it looks when we get around to looking at that. But you see the whole thing is loose like that. I don't know if I can disconnect it from the flange because of the way that it's still connected, but if I can, I'll pull it. If not, I'll just find some sort of way to like bungee cord it up and get it out of the way for now so I don't have to disconnect the whole thing. But like I said, make sure you have your oxygen sensors disconnected. I'm gonna have to pull these little tabs right here, these little plastic tabs, so that it'll fall down and that it won't get caught up when the engine gets pulled out. But except for that, exhaust is disconnected. Colby should be here shortly. All right, I got my 22mm socket here. We're gonna use this to rotate flex plate and torque converter back there. Colby's now here, so that it was a lot easier than I thought it would.
It's not that hard to turn them.
Anyways,
so as you go around, there's 4, right?
yes.
So you get 4. I've never seen them like this. Typically, if you're ever working on stuff like a small block Chevy or small block Ford, you basically just undo the bell housing and then the entire thing just comes off. But since this new technology has gotten so out of hand, you're just dealing with all this bull crap the entire time.
Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff to deal with. But there's 4 of those in there. They're each 14mm. We're going to take them out now and then throw them in a bag to save for later. So you can see Colby turning it. It's adjusting in there. So we're taking those out. This one's only hand tightened right now because he got it with the 14-inch open end box end, whatever you got it. 12?
Yeah.
I thought it said 14. I was looking online, but I don't know.
Thought wrong.
Yeah, that's my bad. But anyways, see, I'm giving it some crank down right there. I'm going the wrong way. Oops. Anyways, you can see where we already took it out. I might go back if that'll be easier.
No, it's fine.
But
Yeah, this is
there you go. All right, let me turn off the camera so I can hold it real quick. All right, so we're going to take off the bolts on the back of the bell housing and the nut at the very bottom. There's 3 bolts going down the side. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then a nut at the bottom, and then the same 1, 2, 3. We took off the little strap right here that has the long bolt. I can't remember if I showed that in the video yesterday, but I got my impact out with the swivel socket. I'm going to crawl underneath because we don't have a lift, so fortunately I'm skinny and can fit underneath, so it'll be tight fit, but I got that impact. If that one doesn't work, I got that impact because it's smaller, and if that impact doesn't work, I got that impact because it's even smaller. So something will work. I got a 9/16 socket on the end, little swivel head right here, so hopefully that'll work just fine.
All right, so as you can see, Michael's underneath the car as of right now.
Howdy.
Howdy. Now he's trying to get the bell housing bolts on from underneath. The starter's in the way on this side. The other side's a lot easier because it's a lot less in your way as far as the lines go and everything. But he's currently in the process of trying to get the 3 bolts on this side done, and as well as a nut at the very bottom for the stud. So that's what we're on right now, currently. How you feeling anyway?
Fantastic.
All right.
Never better.
So we're in the process of that now. But we'll keep you updated in a minute of how far we get. So.
All right, so if I had to give any tips on anybody doing this, I'd say get an engine lift if you can, because this sucks. But
Or at least a jack.
yeah, jack or something, because I'm laying underneath of it completely flat. I don't even know what's smudged on my camera. The phone's so close I can't even see, but you can kind of see the nut up there, and there's 3 bolts going up the side. I got to loosen up all of those, and then that's what I'm going to get to now. So try to spray with some PD blaster, WD-40, whatever if you can, and then get cracking. All right. Nathaniel's here now. He's over there packing some stuff up, but with a combination of some swivel sockets, some socket wrenches, some socket wrench extensions, some sockets themselves, several different impacts and everything, we finally got it out. I had to take off the back end of the starter that connects down there to get it out. It's not fully out right now, but you can see right there kind of that it's still being held in. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. All that's left is the engine mounts, and then it should be as good as just to pull it out. So I'm going to get working on getting an engine lift lined up, and then I'll tune back in next week when we get back to this. It is Saturday, March 18th. I'm back again with the Subaru. Finally got an engine lift. What do you mean, no, it's not? Yes, it is. I'm here at the tail today, and I finally got a cherry picker. Subaru's here. You can see the engine lift is in pieces. With the magic of YouTube editing, I'll have this together in about 5 seconds. And just like that, the cherry picker is up and assembled just like I said it would be. It was definitely actually 5 seconds, and this wasn't edited at all. I just put my phone down, and 5 seconds later, here it is. So
We're magicians.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I just said abracadabra, and it's built up for it. But anyways, I'm going to get the hood open on the Subaru. All that's left holding the engine in this is the transmission mount, sorry. And then we'll get pulling. All right, I'm underneath the oil-ridden engine. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see the engine mounts right there. There's one on this side. I'll try to show you the one on the other. I'm on the driver's side right now, laying underneath. Same looking thing. There you go. Right there. So I'm going to get to removing those. Once I have those out, the engine is just sitting in here, connected to the transmission and sitting upon the motor mounts, but not actually secured down to them. So I'll get going on that. Once I have those out, we're going to get the hood off, and then we're going to get the engine chained up and get it pulled out. So I got the engine mounts off. It's a 14mm bolt down there, or nut, sorry. To attach on the hood, two 12mm on either side, and then two 10mm for the shock mounts up here. So Colby's playing with the cherry picker a little bit. He just got here and he's going to help out, and then we'll get this thing yanked right out. Well, we got the hood off, and now we're at the part where we don't want to screw up. Or the part second most that we don't want to screw up. The old engine coming out, we can afford to screw that up. The new one we cannot. So hopefully no screw ups to happen here. We have a chain down here. We put one of the bolts in here, landed a few washers underneath, and a chain here, landed a few washers underneath. Air compressor, or AC compressor, sorry, sitting on top. We're going to get a jack underneath the transmission, prop that up a little bit. We're going to get this up here and slowly start to lift it. Pry them apart. Once they start to come apart, slide the engine forward a little bit, get it up, and get it out. So this is going to be the fun part for sure. I'll make a little time-lapse video of this, and then we will hopefully have it out when the next video rolls around. Well, as you saw in the video, the old engine came out. Took quite a bit of prying, as you can see right here, but she's out. Big empty hole right now. Tools all piled right here. And here she sits on the block, or here sits the block, sorry, on top of the tire. So we're going to start taking off everything that connects this one. We're going to get the old parts on the new one and then proceed onwards. Alright, I wasn't really sure when I first started this quick little video series on how I was going to split these videos up. I think I'm going to do it one for removal of the engine and one for installation. So I'm going to cut this video in half right here. The next video will be coming shortly, but this is the removal part of the video. The installation part, if it's not up, it will be coming soon. Thank you for watching.